All right, Harmony HSS 6th grade. Let's look at CBA 2. If I go too fast, remember you can pause the video and read the question in more detail and slower. But so the video is not too long, I'll try and kind of get to the meat and potatoes of it, okay? All right, so let's look at this first question. Okay, I've got the correct answer circled. So why is this the correct answer? Okay. Well, luckily we did look at examples like this in class where we look at this value here, okay, which is 3 to the left, and we're supposed to do that 4 times. So if we start at 0 the way we're supposed to, okay, we go 3 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then that's negative 3 times 4. Okay. All right, let's move on to this next one. We looked at these scenarios with counters, positive counters, negative counters. Okay. And they're pretty random here. Here they're organized. Which expression represents the problem, Chloe, right? So we have essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positive counters, and we have 3 negative counters. Okay. This is your 0 pairs we discussed in class. We left over with 2. They're not asking, but you guys know in class that they don't have the same sign. The 5 wins, so the answer is positive. You subtract the 2, and you get a 2. Okay. All right, let's move on. Again, you can pause to read this here. Basically, they want the sum of the scores. So, right, this word right here, very important. So we've got this value, negative 2 plus 0 plus. All right. Now the parentheses, I'm using them just to so that we've put in these values, right? They came from somewhere, so we've put them in. Now we can simply add them basically left to right, okay? So negative 2 plus 0 is this, okay? Now notice I'm keeping the negative 7 in parentheses just because I want it to be different or differentiated from this plus, okay? I'm going to go these two, and that's different signs. The positive wins. I subtract the 2, I get a 1. Alright. Now I'm in this situation. They have different signs. Okay, the negative's going to win. I subtract 7 minus 1, I get a 6. And lastly, once again, different signs. The positive's going to win. 10 minus 6 is 4. And there's the answer. Okay. Alright. So let's look at this next one. Which equation is not true? Okay. So I've got the correct answer selected. Okay, so that means you guys should go through A, B, and C to prove that right. We can do that in class, of course. But let's see what happened here. We know, right, one of our rules in class is that when you multiply or divide and you have the same sign, the answer's got to be positive. Okay, it's negative, so that's obviously going to be the incorrect answer. However, 18 divided by 6 is 3, but the answer should have been positive. Okay, so again, if I'm going too fast, this is exactly what you can ask more questions about during our blended learning. Okay. All right. So B's got the value of 3, so let's go and prove it. Now, remember, you're supposed to multiply and divide before you add or subtract, so let's do this portion here. Okay. 2 times 6 is 12. Different signs means the result will be negative minus Okay, so in math there's different techniques, right? Different approaches, but in this class we've pretty much approached everything one way that works all the time, and that's why we're using that, because it works every time. Okay, so we've got the negative 12 we keep. We're going to change the minus to a plus, and we'll flip this guy to its opposite. Okay, so now we take a look to see which is the winning sign. We're going to have positive 15 minus 12 is 3. Okay, if I'm going too fast, you guys can do it on the side. So that is our winner, and we can together check these other ones during blended learning. Okay, all right, this next one, what is the value of the expression? So we looked at something like this during our master review. Again, multiplication, division before you even consider adding or subtracting. So let's do this portion. 2 times 4 is 8. Different signs means the product is negative. We'll put the plus. Okay, this is this front part. Let's do this back part over here. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Again, different signs means we're going to have a negative product, or in this case, quotient. And now we want to add we are. So let's go ahead and simply do that and keep the sign. Okay. All right. A lot of what we did in class showed up on this CBA. Okay. All right. True or false? The difference between two positive integers can be negative. Okay. So let's see if that's true. The difference between two positive numbers can be negative. So if we take 2 minus 3, okay, we can flip it to its opposite, and this is the winning sign. 3 minus 2 is 1, and two positive numbers, here they are. Okay, 2 minus positive 3 can be negative. Okay, so this was unfair to a certain way, but then again, you guys are smart, and this is encouraging you guys to be challenging your thinking. Okay, so as long as you learn after the fact, if not already during the CBA, that's the important part. Okay, the sum of two numbers can be positive. Okay, so the sum of two negative numbers can be negative. So can we come up with two numbers, right? Let's say some negative number here, okay, can be positive. Well, we know that when you add two values that have the same sign, the result's going to have that same sign. So yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay. The sum of one positive number and one negative number can be 0. So that one's the obvious one from our lesson in zero pairs. So negative 2 plus 2, 2 and negative 2 are opposites, gives a 0, okay? Once again, sum means to add one positive and one negative. The difference between two negative numbers is always negative, okay? So this word always, all you have to do is find one time when it's not true. So the difference of two negative numbers. So negative 2 minus negative 3. Okay. Once we keep, change, and flip it to its opposite, we see that we're gonna get to the winning, keep the winning sign, which is positive. 3 minus 2 is 1, and we have the difference, or excuse me, yes, the difference. That's another thing I should highlight. The difference means subtraction. So the difference of two negative numbers, negative 2 and negative 3, results in a positive, so it's not always negative. Okay. All right. The sum of one positive and one negative number is always negative. This one should have been pretty obvious. So once again, always. Okay. They're challenging you to come up with one example where it's not true, and some. is addition. So we have, it's always negative. So in this case, we'll go -2 plus, okay, so they want one positive, one negative. So here's a positive, here's a negative. Once again, the winning sign is positive. 3 minus 2 is 1. So in this case, the sum is positive, not negative. So we found one time when that's not true, okay? Alright. Two models are shown below. Alright. So we're supposed to slide these bad boys in this case, okay? So as I look at this, right, and luckily you guys have options, but as I see this, okay, we're supposed to start at 0, but yet officially they've moved us to 2, okay? So now from here, there seems to be motion 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left, okay? So we can describe it as going 5 to the left, and as we know, keep, change, and flip to the opposite. These would be two viable options. So let's take a look at here. 2 minus 5. It's not up there. 2 plus -5. That's this guy right here. Okay. Let's jump to this one. Now what is obvious to me is the fact that these are counters. We've used them in class. I've got 5 negative, so I've got -5. I use parentheses. Why not? And I've got 3 positive counters. Okay. I don't think they need the result. Let's just see if we can match -5 plus 3. And here it is. So you'd have slid that on your test. This next one, which expression are equal? Okay. So this is loaded. Once again, a little unfair, but you guys got to remember you're a lot smarter. Every time you're in class, you're just growing and growing. So the best thing you would have done is looked at this and said, okay, I can multiply this. 2 times 3 is 6. Multiplying or dividing the same sign guarantees us a positive answer. So select 2 correct answers. Okay. Who else is equal to 6? Well, if I divide these two, 12 divided by 2 is 6. And I am dividing by the same sign, so I'm guaranteed a positive answer. Same thing here. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Dividing by the same signs, which is positive, means I'll retain that positive result. Okay? Alright. Next, which expression is represented on the number line? Alright. So I have the correct answer. So let's see if it's consistent, okay? -4, right? We're supposed to start here, but according to the arrows, we've technically started here and we're moving further and further left. So from -4, I went 2 to the left, correct? And 2 more to the left, and 2 more to the left. Okay, so I went left 2, and left 2. Okay? Alright. Now, as far as these guys go here, again, this is kind of unfair. This is -4. And yes, we went 6 left at the end of these hops, but again, you're looking for the best fit. And if you thought A was viable and compared it to C, you'd see that C was more appropriate. Okay. B, however, is -4 go 2. That's absolutely not correct. -4 plus 6, which would have ended up on this side. So these two were definitely wrong. This one is tricky, so we can definitely have a discussion. But again, we're always looking for the most appropriate answer, and C is it. Okay. All right. Let's look at this one here. Okay. Armor has $40. She went shopping, bought 7 for 3, and sweater for 12. How much money does she have left after shopping? So we're gonna take the 7 pairs of socks at $3 each. which equals 21. Okay, and specifically that's $21 on socks. Then $12. Okay, so we're going to take the 12 plus 21, which equals 33. And we're looking at 33 dollars for, I guess, clothes. Okay. And finally, we take the 40 she started off with minus the 33. We get 7. And $7 is the money she has left. Okay. Money left after shopping. And let's get to this last one here. Okay. The highest temperature in the town of Westgate this summer is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Last winter, the lowest temperature recorded was negative 1 degree Fahrenheit. Find the difference. So I'm going to be subtracting. We are going to be subtracting. Use the number line to label the points and answer the question. Okay, so we're going to say 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And I think what they were looking for is, well, could they locate negative 1 degree? So as long as it was below 0, you'd be in the ball game. Alright, so they're looking for the difference. So we're going to take 100 minus negative 1, which we can turn into keep, change, flip to the opposite, and get 101. So we have 101 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, is the difference between these extremes. Alright, thank you for watching. We'll catch you in class.